We'll solve a radical equation. The equation that we have is the square root of 2x minus 2 plus the square root of 7x plus 4 equals the square root of 13x plus 10. Now we have three radicals in this equation, and one of them is isolated on one side of the equal sign, so that's a good place to start. We always want to have one radical isolated. And what we'll do now is to square both sides of the equation to eliminate that radical on the right. So I'd square the square root of 2x minus 2 plus the square root of 7x plus 4. And we'll also square the square root of 13x plus 10. Now, when I square on the left-hand side, I can use the rule for squaring a binomial. I'll have 2x minus the square root of 2x minus 2 squared, which is 2x minus 2, plus 2 times this square root times this square root, and I'm going to write that as the square root of their product. And then I have the square root of 7x plus 4 squared, which is 7x plus 4. And on the right, I'm squaring the square root of 13x plus 10, which gives me 13x plus 10. Now, let's collect like terms where we can here. On the left-hand side, I'm going to have 9x plus 2 times the square root of this product, and I'm going to multiply that out now. I'll have 14x squared minus 6x minus 8. And on the right-hand side, I have 13x plus 10. Now I'm going to subtract 9x and subtract 2 on both sides of the equation. So on the left-hand side, that will leave me 2 times the square root of 14x squared minus 6x minus 8. And on the right-hand side, that will give me, when I subtract 9x and subtract 2, I will have 4x plus 8. Now let's go to a clean sheet of paper so we can continue with a little more space. This is the last step that we had. The next thing I'm going to do is to divide both sides of this equation by 2. And when I do that, on the left I have the square root of 14x squared minus 6x minus 8. And dividing both of these terms by 2 on the right, I have 2x plus 4. Now I have a radical here, and I need to square both sides of the equation again to eliminate that radical. So let's do that now. We have the square root of 14x squared minus 6x minus 8 squared equals 2x plus 4, that quantity squared. On the left-hand side, I'm going to have 14x squared minus 6x minus 8. And on the right-hand side, when I square, I get 4x squared plus 16x plus 16. Now I have a second degree, a quadratic equation here, so I'm going to write this equation with a 0 on one side of the equal sign. And that means I'm going to subtract 4x squared and 16x and 16 on both sides of the equation. And when I do that, I get 10x squared minus 22x minus 24, and that's equal to 0. Now again, I see that I've got a factor of 2 in each of these terms. Dividing each term by 2, I have 5x squared minus 11x minus 12, and that's equal to 0. And now we're ready to factor. I can factor this as 5x plus 4 times x minus 3, that's equal to 0. And now I can use the principle of zero products. We have 5x plus 4 is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. When I solve here, I get, subtracting 4 on both sides, 5x equals negative 4, and dividing both sides by 5, I get x equals negative 4/5. Or solving this equation by adding 3 on both sides, we get x equals 3. So the possible solutions to this equation are negative 4/5 and 3. And if we would go back and check in the original equation, we would find that negative 4/5 does not check, but the number 3 does check. So we say the solution is 3.